Well, here I am at the town site of Custer in Idaho. Pretty close to the very center of Idaho. This is an old mining town, founded in the 1870s and ran all the way to the early 1900s. Mines dried up about 1910, I think it was. The final mills stopped working in 1904, I believe I saw a sign that said that. And the final mill that did stop working was this one. This is the mill site for the George Armstrong Custer Mill of the Custer Mining Company. And you can see kind of just above it up there on the mountainside are the actual mines themselves. Or at least one of the mines. This town had several mines, I think 7 or 8 back in its heyday. With this being the main mill, it was like 5 stories tall with a 20 stamp mill, with some of the stamps being just over there. We'll check out in just a moment. And just an enormous number of artifacts and such at this the town site here. Put in these boilers, a really old style Pelton wheel. Very old style Pelton wheel. An enormous hoist. And I mean enormous. There's a piston here. Very likely for steam. And that piston is just... it's gotta be 12 inches tall by 12 inches wide at least. Just enormous. And there's a piston on the other side to do the same thing. It's just... a lot of power was required to move that. And as we come further into the town, facing west here, we're going to see things like the stamp mill. We're also going to see things like this house here. This house is the Pfeiffer residence, built in the 1880s and purchased by the folks who ended up owning it in the 1890s. Here's a good sign explaining things. And a good picture of the folks living here. And while the birds fly by, we're walking over to the assay office for the Custer Mining Company. This one's doesn't have the kind of windows you can look into like the Pfeiffer residence, but it is still in good shape. Somewhat good shape. I just realized there is actually a window here, but it's blocked up. Looks like there's an old remains of a miner's boot perhaps right there. There's some red paint remaining on the wall still. This is the assay office, says so right above the door there. Kind of hard to see. Here's the information board on this one. And there's a picture here. I think that would have been the assay office. And now, the information board on the actual General Custer Mill here. It was quite a large mill for a large operation. Quite an interesting place. I like this stat right here. An estimated $11 to $12 million of gold was recovered from these mines. It's an enormous amount back in the day. I mean that there's very likely some left to pull out those mines there. Yeah, it's getting bright. That sun is just coming out. It's very early in the morning here, that's why there's no one else. It's about 8 a.m. we're going to make a stop off to check out the arrastras that were at a couple of the ore processing sites for some mills. It's kind of surprising that they were using arrastras here, because arrastras are quite an old process. But this one, for instance, is definitely donkey powered. Or mule powered, I should say. And we still have the arrastra stones even. Like this giant chunk here. And according to that little information patch there, this is from the Charles Dickens mill site. The Charles Dickens mine. There's a lot of very different mine names up here. But we should actually check out the stamp mill next here. Here's the description on the stamp mill that is right in front of us. This is just a 5 stamp mill, so this would have been one of 4 that were inside the actual General Custer mill. It is very large. The sun is right behind it now. But there it is. A very large stamp mill. It's in quite good shape, I must admit. Don't find stamp mills in these areas in this good a shape very often. I know of a whole bunch that are all collapsed. You can really just see the stamps left. So it's quite nice that there's this much left. Well, now I'll walk on to the last spot here before I walk further down the town to check out the other remains here. This is one of the blacksmith shops. Can't see inside right now, unfortunately. It's too early for the Forest Service to have unlocked everything. But blacksmiths were quite important out in these areas. They did a lot of very important metalwork that was not really done by anyone else during these days. So, quite important work. And there is this remains of a nice old Chevy. Doesn't show the logo. Actually, it does show the logo on this side right there. You can kind of see it. But this was a very old Chevrolet. Not sure what model or anything, but it's one of the few cars that probably made it up here before the mines closed. It's quite old and very cool. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and walk over to the rest of the town. There's still a remaining saloon, schoolhouse, and some graves to see. So we'll be checking those out in just a minute. And walking still west into the town, getting closer to the center of it as more people arrive. This is the Custer Jail, or where it was. That steel door was the one that was on the jail, likely before the wood was removed. It was a rather small building. That's the complete confines of it. And this sign gives a good description of everything. But basically, it was a really tiny room, just one room, with a barred window and that steel door. So, quite the interesting sight. would not have had a good view. It would have just been one or two houses and the schoolhouse, which is just over there on the other side of the road. It would have been very boring, but it doesn't sound like it was ever really used as a jail. So we're going to continue on to the next site. And across from the jail, we're going to start by examining this awesome collection of artifacts, including things like steam pistons. I believe that's an accumulator for high pressure steam. And followed by all sorts of processing equipment. There's an old wheel there. I'm not sure if it was a Pelton wheel or anything else. And plenty of old gears. I'm not sure what that is, but that's a very complicated device, whatever it was, which is awesome to see. And then tram buckets. A lot of tramway equipment here. A lot of the stuff that brought ore down from the mines to the mills to process it. It's really cool that it's all still in such good shape. And then we walk over here. Yeah, that sun just keeps getting brighter, to the schoolhouse. Which had been located quite centrally in town. There's the descriptions for it all. And then an example of the pupils that were here. And then as we walk on a little bit further, there's this awesome picture of the town site back in the 1880s. And then school's not quite open, but what we're going to walk to next is a rather interesting site and kind of unique in pioneer towns. As you often see stuff like this concentrated in a graveyard. But considering how steep the slopes are up here, it's not unusual to have small tragedies. But in early 1890, there was this rather small avalanche. And that avalanche just so happened to affect the Johnson family the most, with the graves of their little girls here still. I'm going to try to respect things, and we'll walk back over to the school now, as it sounds like more people are arriving. Probably the maintenance folks. So we'll just head back into town here. I'll catch you on the other side of the school. And then just on the other side of the schoolhouse there, that yellow building, there's a very large ore bucket for a tram. Right next to a rather old gasoline engine. It says Atlas Imperial on the side. Oakland, California, made in USA. And like the model number there. And there's a safe. Very old safe. It's definitely seen better days. And there's nothing inside it now. And next to that safe, the Brockman cabin. Beautiful old structure here with such artifacts as a very early snow shovel, which would have been very needed during the many winters here. They were brutal, cold, and multiple feet of snow fell. And now we're going to continue walking on to this house here, just past where other buildings likely had stood. See, it's likely a small shed back there, very like the original, or if not original, very old. Coming up on this cabin here. They're just opening up everything, so we'll loop back around to the Empire Saloon and that house over there in just a moment. But for now, this is just marked as a miner's cabin. So Really interesting descriptions here. I'll walk into the cabin to see what it looks like. I think this one has been restored a little bit. Nice. Very interesting artifacts that you can't see. Bunch of old coffee cans. A lot of old coffee cans. And then probably carbide and all sorts of stuff here. Very cool, very cool. Things like the bed, and the stove, and tobacco tins. Very cool, they found some surviving out here. They don't typically. And this is neat. The old newspaper. Wow. I want to take some pictures in here. Very nice stuff. Then move on. 2 more artifacts. Here. Oh, there's a drill. And a sluice box, an old one. And a Pelton wheel. Very common around here. I'm not sure what those are, but those look like almost stamps. Then most of the assemblage of a gold rocker, which was used to basically shake sand that you dug out of the river and get gold out of it. Very simple sort of sluice thing here. Very interesting stuff. I'm going to be investigating those buildings next. Man, it's turning into a beautiful day here. And now we come over from the miner's cabin there to what is listed as the Mackenzie residence. You might want to pause the video to take a look at the description of the house there. Some incredible things. A stained glass window over an arched doorway, a well near the window with water pumped directly into the kitchen, carpet on the living room floor, spacious room and 2 chimneys. That's a lot for a mining house in the 1880s, 1890s. Wow. It is quiet in here. There's a bedroom here. Man, it's just quiet. It's hard to narrate this when it's just so calm in here. Table and chairs. A writing desk. Chest. And a piano. Family did not do any mining, but they owned part of a saloon, a store, a livery, and a stable. But this was their piano. It would be quite wealthy to have a piano back in those days. Actually, no. The piano was donated. Here's some descriptions. Oh, so maybe is the original. Because it sounds like the grandchildren donated it to this museum. Wow. A little chamber pot in there. An interesting building, to be sure. There's where the stained glass window used to be over the archway. Like near a side-by-side window. Now we're getting into, I think, restored floors. It's hard to tell, though. Here's the side-by-side going by. There's like a sewing machine. Equipment for sewing. There's one of the fireplaces. Rather high up for everything. Very old Coca-Cola sign back there. Stoves and early kerosene stove even. Horseshoes, equipment and tools. PI on here, something here. Just an enormous number of artifacts. Very cool to see. It's an old, well-used table there. And a lot of stoves in here. Might have been part of what they were selling. Very interesting things. This is a very early kerosene stove. So blue. Bon ami. Bon ami. Gold coin is the name of that stove. That's interesting. It's a beautiful, very large house. Overall. Washington Stoveworks, Everett, Washington. Even had a temperature gauge on there. That's quite something. Beautiful house from the Mackenzies. We'll go ahead and head on. There's some more interesting things to see. There's a walk further west. And I want to check them all out before we head out from here. So there's one more. There's spot to see today. Having walked on from the Mackenzie house over there, we come over to where there was very likely a saloon owned by Mackenzie right here. I think that was it there. This is a very large foundation. Very likely would have tried to keep things level across the street, so probably was in line thereabouts with that house. So, we'll move on next. And we're coming up on this next information placard here. A furniture store was right here. Let's see where we are with the red circle there. It was a furniture and upholstery store connected by a walkway to the upper story of the family business, or the log house that was behind here. That's interesting. You can kind of see the foundation just through there. That would have been a furniture and upholstery store right there. Move on to last couple of placards in the hills. That's what the last one will come over to after we check out that building way down there. Actually, we'll just check out these placards here. A general store. W. Burton and Company. And those prices of groceries are very enviable now. This was the one perhaps owned by, or no, it wouldn't have been the one owned by Pfeiffer. There's an example of the ledger. But this would have been a general store, and I wonder what's here. Perhaps a well. I'm thinking that's a well. Looks like a well to me. So, interesting spots, interesting spots. Rather far down the west end from all the houses here, especially from like the mill site. It's way down there. It's like a quarter mile away at this point. But apparently the west end of town, most of this stuff, I would imagine, was the business district. Which is pretty interesting. I'm going to continue walking to see if I can find anything else to film, and hopefully there is something else interesting to grab pictures of. Then just a bit down from that general store, with the well in the back, looks like this was the Miners' Union Hall here. Pretty interesting spot for it. We are almost at the end of town here, though. It would have been right in here, this nice flat section here. This flat section continues on quite effectively, all the way over to that general store where there's a nice depression around there. You can see it. That's probably the back of the general store. And we're going to move on to one more little placard over here, and it looks like the trail continues on this way. The Miners' Union Hall placard is just over there. I came down the road and I didn't see anything else along that side that was interesting. There's that old cabin over there, but it doesn't look like there's any descriptors for it. So we've come over here to where the Nevada House Hotel used to be. Like a lot of hotels in mining towns, it sounds like this one had a large number of rooms, served meals, and cost fairly cheap, but also kind of expensive for the miners because they were paid not much more than $1 or a few dollars per day, perhaps. That would have been right here. Probably backed up all the way to the trees over there, good 30, 40 feet away. This is a rather large flat section of what used to be town here, so I do think that there used to be a mine up that canyon there. I saw a bunch of equipment and what looked like some tram. I guess tram equipment is a good way to say it. A tramway gear up that way. So I think there's a mine up that way, which would have made it interesting getting home every day, or getting back to the hotel where you were lodging every day. But for now, I want to walk back up to the placard that's on this side here, and I'll catch you on that in just a moment. And as I'm walking the trail, there's an enormous amount of rather shiny broken glass here. Definitely remains of the town. All sorts of colors and qualities of glass. Interesting stuff here. Just a man riding by with his dog. The amount of glass that's on what would have been maybe a sidewalk, or I don't know, it's just incredible amounts of glass. And there used to be maybe a bin or a wagon there. Looks like a wagon without the wheels. Continue walking. We're almost to that placard here now. Wow, there's a lot of glass here. Some of it looks like window glass. I wouldn't doubt there is a building or two here. Probably about to find out which ones. And the feed and livery stable. So it would have been Mackenzie's livery stable there. That large building right in the center of the frame. Cost $1.50 per day to keep a horse. Wow, that would have been expensive. But it would have been right here-ish. Just about right here anyway. Nice large flat spot for it here. So, interesting stuff. I know there's one more placard here that we're going to go ahead and take a look for. There's still more glass, just all throughout the ground here. Hope it's coming across on camera. It's just so many different colors, and it's all shining right up at me. There might not be a placard here, it might just be one of those audio tour markers. There's a lot of glass here. Gotta be sort of a dump here or something. It's just glass through there. Crazy stuff. Perhaps a grave. I'm thinking that's a grave. Don't know of who or if it was an animal. But it's a grave right there. So I'm going to respect it and start moving on. Heading back towards the Mackenzie house, and I've got to say that's the entire tour of the former town of Custer, Idaho. We'll be heading out to our next location here in just a minute. Thanks for joining me.